Okay, so now the second one is where we are going to look. Again, we are still looking for the equation, or we are going to look for A, B, C, and D. However, for this one, we're given x cubed here. So that means if we're given x cubed, this is a 1. So we have 1 x cubed, and then the coefficient of x cubed is A. So don't forget that. That means the value of A is 1. So now we have the value of A, which is 1. However, if you can check, we can't use these equations. Why can't we use these equations? Because now this equation is us to have what? X1, x2, and x3, and these are what? These are the intercepts. So you can't go and use this equation because you only have one intercept. If you can check, you only have one intercept. You would use this one where you're saying that the turning point is being shared with an intercept. However, you don't have the second intercept. Only if you had the second intercept, that's when you are going to use this equation. So that means you can't use none of these equations. There's no way you're going to use these equations. So now we need to think. The question is, if you can check on the graph, we are given the turning points. We are given the stationary points. So the question is, how did they find the stationary points? That's a question. So now to find the stationary points, we do what? We do the first differentiation and then we equate it to 0. So we are given the equation. So we are going to act as if we are looking for the turning points. That's what we're going to do. Given the turning points, however, we're going to act as if we are looking for those turning points. So now f of x is what? It's okay. We have x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. So to find the intercept, we know that we do the first differentiation and then we equate it to 0. So the first differentiation of this equation is going to be what? 3x squared plus 2bx plus c plus 0, because the differentiation of a constant is 0. So this is just going to be plus 0 equals 0. And then now we do have these values of x because they already calculated those values. If you can check, those are the x values. The question is, we do the first differentiation to find what? We do the first differentiation to find the value of x on the turning points. However, we are given those turning points. So if we are given those turning points, we're going to substitute them there in the equation. And then we check what we are missing, then we try to solve that. So if you can check, we have minus 1, that's the first point. So I'm going to have 3 minus 1 squared plus 2b into minus 1 plus c equals 0. So this is going to be positive 3 minus 2b plus c equals 0. So this is now going to be my first equation. This is going to be my first equation because I have two turning points. So I must have two equations. I must substitute those two x coordinates of the turning points. And then the second one, and the second equation, it's where I have positive 1, as you can see. Remember that I only focus on the x-intercepts. That's what I focus on. I only focus on the x-coordinate of the turning points because that's what I find when I do what? When I do the first differentiation and equate it to 0. I'm actually looking for the x-intercept. For the x-coordinate of the turning point. And now I'm given those. So I'm just going to substitute and then work back. So now if you can check, again from this equation that we differentiated, we are now going to substitute the value of what? Of the second intercept, which is, the second turning point, which is 1. So I'm going to have 3 into 1 squared plus 2b into 1 plus c equals 0. So now I'm going to have 3 plus 2b plus c equals 0. This is equation 2. So now if you can check for those two equations, we have two unknowns. So two equations are enough to what? Are enough to find two unknowns. So now we are going to use Martinez equation. So I have the first equation, which is 3 minus 2b plus c equals 0. And then the second equation. Okay, so now I have 3 minus 2b plus c. This is equation 1 that I found here. And then I have 3 plus 2b plus c equals 0. This is equation 2. And now I'm going to generate my third equation. So generating my third equation, I'm going to work from equation 1. So from equation 1, I'm going to make c to the other formula. So I'm going to have 2b minus 3. So this is now my equation 3. So now I'm going to substitute my equation 3 back to equation 2, the one that I haven't touched. So I'm going to substitute c. So I'm going to have 3 plus 2b plus, now c is 2b minus 3. So I'm going to have 2b minus 3 equals 0. So 3 minus 3, that's a 0. 2b plus 2b, that's 4b. equals 0, so dividing both sides by 4. That means now our b is going to be 0. Now I'm going to substitute what? My b back to what? To equation number 3. And then now I'm going to have c equals 2 multiplied by 0 minus 3. So that means the value of c is now going to be minus 3. So now I can take it back to the equation, this equation. So taking it back there, so I have f of x. Okay, so the equation was f of x equals x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. So now if I take everything back, I'm going to have x cubed plus, so b is a 0. So that means this one is going to be cancelled. So I'm not going to write it. C it's negative 3, so I'm going to have negative 3x. And then d, we didn't find the value of d, so we need to find the value of d plus d. So that's the last thing to do. The last thing to do is to find the value of d. So if you can check, to find the value of d, I said this is the turning point and it's also an intercept. So I'm going to use this intercept. So now I'm going to treat it as an intercept. I'm going to use this intercept and then find what? And then find the value of d. So doing that, I'm going to have what? I'm going to have f of x equals x cubed minus 3x plus d. So that intercept was minus 1 and 0. So now x is 0, so I'm going to, y is 0, so I'm going to have 0 equals minus 1 cubed minus 3 into minus 1 plus d. So this is 0 equals minus 1 cubed is going to be minus 1. This one is going to be plus 3 plus d. So now my d is going to be what? Minus 1 plus 3. That's going to be positive 2. So if you take that to the other side, so you're going to have minus 2. So that means my final equation now is going to be f of x equals x cubed minus 3x minus 2. And then this is now going to be my final answer of this question.